This is my home away from home, so why not come in? Get to see my guy Wolf.
There he is.
Right?
Just looking like Wolf over there.
Right now, just knowing it. Yeah.
Nobody can tell because you have your hat down, so it's
I know.
totally
Pull
fine.
low. Yeah, I got to pull that up right there. Okay, that feels better.
Does that feel better?
Look, when's the last time you've been out at State Farm Stadium? See a practice?
Just when I was with you guys last week. I didn't get a chance to get back. I went out there last week to do the show with Paul and Craig, but there was an hour gap, and I'm like, I'm not sitting around here for an hour. I don't have to. Why am I going to sit here for an hour? So I got to see that one day. They had pads on. It got pretty physical. I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought Greg Dortch that day really stood out to me. He's repping that for us. I thought, no, he's gone. That's Greg Dortch. Okay, he looked nice. So I really like that. Kyler looked good.
Yeah.
Putting the ball in some great places. It'll be interesting to see how that continues to evolve, obviously, with Marvin Harrison and the tight ends, that group. And then just being down there on the sideline and seeing how much bigger they look. I don't know if I've been away from the game now, like these human beings just look so much bigger. But the guys up front, man, especially on the defensive line, they look different, right? They look like they went out and was intentional about putting some guys in there that you have to double team me. And if you don't, I have a potential of messing up your run game today. So,
are you talking specifically about Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols? Those two guys they signed and brought in?
Him and
Darius.
Who else was down there? What's is it Ray Lopez? Roy Lopez.
Oh yeah, Roy Lopez.
He's a big body too. I mean, everybody across the
very
spectrum
underrated.
He's been having a good camp specifically.
Yeah,
Lopez
so those guys.
camp.
I mean, they look the part, and so if I think they can stay healthy there, that defense is going to look much better.
You know what? L.J. Collier as well.
Yeah.
Now,
L.J. Collier.
Now,
look out.
yes. So, and I didn't. It's hard to watch it from the sideline. I wish they would give, some former players. Hey, can I just come on the field and look for the end zone?
Like, by the way,
I know I can sneak
like
out
you
there.
To go on the field. You kept like kind of.
But I want to be respectful. When I was going to the offensive side, you got to go to the other side, right, where the fans are at. And young lady came. Can you please go that way? I said, okay. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I almost pulled. Like, do you know who I am? that came up in my soul. It came up. It came up in my soul, and I choked it down and walked where everybody else went.
But
it happened.
Even just the way you were like kind of sitting on the bench, like we walked up, we talked to Zoe, and we're like, Zoe looks like he's kind of in a zone right now. I'm gonna leave Zoe alone and see where this goes.
Though. But to that point, Collier, the leadership aspect. He's been in the league for a little bit, right? And he's like, man, we ain't practicing right. I don't know what your guys is on, but we could all be gone tomorrow. And there's a certain standard that we need to have. And to hear him...
That's what you heard him say?
Yes. He was calling it like, this is not us.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
He was the one that called everybody together at the end of practice, right? On the defense. Not at the end, but like
he might
the middle.
This was during, he called the defensive line, together. And he was
just defensive line.
It was just defensive line. Maybe a couple of the linebackers, too, that played kind of the edge. But he was like, this ain't good enough.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah, and I loved it. I was like, okay, all
That's
right.
leadership,
right,
isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And to be able to do that.
But you better back it up if you're going to do it.
Yeah, but I think he will. I think he will. So it was just good to see that they got somebody that's going to vocalize it. Because sometimes you know it. Like, I think we okay. I think it's not good. No, it ain't good. And let everybody know that you need that. So it was good to see that.
So we've talked to you a lot about Zaven Collins over the years.
Yeah.
And it's been, hey, okay, he fits here. Okay, he's not fitting here. And he's bouncing around. But he gets, and then it was, they're not picking up his fifth-year option. But a couple months later, they signed him to a 2-year extension.
I think it's a win-win for everybody, right? I think his fifth year would have been $13 million. But obviously, based on what he's been doing and where they've moved him to, he hasn't earned that fifth year. But it also shows that they like who he is to pay him pretty much $7 a year, $6 to $7 a year. Ain't no chump change either.
Yeah.
So I thought the team got, obviously got some benefit from the financial standpoint, and then just seeing Zaven, knowing who he is, the professional that he is. I think he's happy here, and I think he was content with that. But he's still going to go out this year, and I think still show people what he can do. And I think being in that spot another year, being in this system, because people, you see a big body, you see a guy that's smart, and they're telling like, why aren't you making more plays? You're a first rounder. But when you get moved around, different defensive coordinators, it's hard. And so I hopefully with this second year being outside backer full time and really being in this system, understanding really what was being asked and having all these reps at that position, I can definitely see him taking another step as far as the production level, as far as pass rush, right? Because he does fine in coverage because he's done that all his whole life.
Yeah.
It's about playing the run and with great hands and then being dominant on third down where he's not coming off the field, but a guy maybe that can slide inside because he's big enough to do it, or just stay out there on the edge and rush as well.
So your thoughts on B.J. Ojulari blowing out his knee, of course, and what kind of advice would you give a young guy like that?
It's unfortunate that it happens, anytime to anybody at any point in your career, because it's a significant setback. And, at this time, you're like, am I going to be able to come back? Now, we know science has come a long way and the ACL ain't what it used to be. But he was, I think, on the verge of maybe taking that next step and really, having his coming out party as far as who he is as a football player and playing on the edge. As far as any advice, and I don't know how the Cardinals typically do it, but if I were him, I'm a young guy. You always want to be around the best, but I would say stay around here. They got the top surgeons are here. Dr. Waz does a excellent job, right? You're not going to find anybody better than him across the country. Maybe somebody has a better name, but nobody better. And then when you think about rehabbing with Buddy Morris and what he just did with Kyler,
big time.
Why am I going to go anywhere? Yep. So, you stay in the building, you stay around your support system, you're around your guys, because sometimes when you go home and you get away from it, you're on your own schedule, you make decisions that you otherwise wouldn't make, right? And you're not still locked in. So you can still go to meetings, still check on your guys, still have that relationship, which he's going to need because there's, as you recover from any significant injury, there's going to be some highs and lows mentally that you experience through this journey.
It's not like you wanted at the end of your career. I mean, you never want to blow out your knee at any point, right? But to have an injury like that, Wolf and I were talking off the air, it's rough for him because he's only going into his second year.
Yeah.
He kind of showed flashes of what he could do towards the end of last year, but he really hasn't established himself in a league that's a business, too. So I think it's even tougher on him in that sense.
Yeah, and I would say it probably is tougher on a younger guy. I sustained something very significant, but I had played in the league long enough, and I had developed a reputation of being impactful outside of on the field, right? And so that's hard for a young guy because he doesn't necessarily bring that value to being a veteran where he can help guys come out. So I think it is, in some cases, worse to be younger and get it from that standpoint, but it's also better to be, I'd rather have been 25 rehabbing this Liz Frank than 34 or 33 as well. So he has a lot of career left in him. By all regards, all accounts, talking to people, he's a great teammate. And so I think that by him just putting his head down, working, attacking it, he'll be fine once he comes back and he'll have an opportunity. Now, whether it'll be here or not, I don't know. But when you're a young kid in the backyard, you ain't even thinking about the logo. You just like, I want an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so he'll be fine moving forward.
So who's the one guy you can't wait to see in silks playing the Saints?
Who's going to be out there? I mean, it's kind of hard,
true.
Kind of looking at who's going to be out there. I really want to see.
For me, it's Darius Robinson.
I was going to say, it feels like Darius Robinson's going to be out there.
We didn't even talk about Darius Robinson.
I'm just talking about these young guys.
And as you mentioned that, I want to see that. And I think we talked about him a little bit last time about him moving around. I think for him, it's going to be vital that they put him at one spot. I think I've kind of shifted how I think about this.
Okay.
I think they need to put him at either the 3 technique or the 5, wherever that's going to be at, and keep him there initially. He needs to get, I think, really invested in whatever that one position is, understand it because they have different calls, different checks, and really be confident in that space. And I know he's a smart dude and can handle it all.
Yeah.
But even me, I'm a smart guy. I'm a Cal guy. But I think sometimes people forget, and I even when I don't, or I didn't really start. I kind of eased into that. I was a D tackle for a long time, defensive end a long time. Then got some chances on third down, and it wasn't really until like year 7. Right? Then they started kind of doing all these different packages and moving me around. And when I was in Buffalo, I was a seasoned vet, right? So, but for a young guy, because even though he's super intelligent, just like, if you overthink stuff, okay, I'm on the 5, now I'm on the 3 on this next play, and where am I supposed to be? I know it. Ball snapped. All right. my physicality, what makes him like really special, right? How big he is, athletic, long. That can go away a little bit because you're thinking. So I say, hey, stick him somewhere, wherever you think that spot is. Leave him there. Maybe you have a wrinkle on third down where he moves somewhere differently, but keep him in that spot so that he can play fast and allow his God-given gifts, his physical talents to come out and grow mentally into the game because it's going to be different.
Yeah.
So, great stuff, man. Always good to talk to you.
Yeah, always.
Thank you.
Love
Thanks,
it.
Zoe.
All right.
Love you, bro.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.